DuckTales for the NES and Game Boy is better than it has any right to be. No, that's selling it short. It's a fantastic game. Released in 1989 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, DuckTales was developer Capcom's first ever licensed game. It was ported to the Game Boy a year later in 1990, and both versions released to critical acclaim and went on to become Capcom's most successful titles on both systems. Interestingly, the game was developed in-house by key Mega Man staff. The Mega Man producer, character designer, and the sound programmer all moved across to work on DuckTales in between Mega Man releases. And it shows. DuckTales feels more than a bit like a Mega Man game. It shares a very similar look and plays just like a Mega Man game would if it featured cartoon ducks, pogo sticks, and Huey, Dewey and Louie. Joking aside, while DuckTales shares a lot of obvious things with Mega Man, it's really a very different playing game. You, as Scrooge McDuck, will travel to 5 different locations around the world. The Amazon, Transylvania, African mines, the Himalayas, and the Moon are all selectable, and like Mega Man, you can tackle them in any order. Unlike Mega Man, Scrooge McDuck is armed with a cane, which he uses to bash objects and to, most of the time, pogo around the level. The pogoing mechanic of DuckTales is the game's most fun feature, and it's the first thing that I think of when I think about the game. The levels are carefully designed to give maximum fun as you bounce through them. As you get better at the game, you'll be able to pogo through areas without stopping, all the while taking out enemies and collecting items along the way. It's really fantastic fun. The Game Boy port of the game is equally great. Nothing is lost in translation, and for me, it's the version that took over my childhood. The screen is slightly more zoomed in compared to the NES version due to the Game Boy's lower resolution screen, but every stage, enemy and collectible is present and correct, and the music's still great. The music! DuckTales consistently pops up in lists of the best 8-bit music ever for a reason. It's just glorious. My personal favourite is the Moon stage music, and honestly, if you ever do a YouTube search for DuckTales covers, you'll find hundreds of bedroom musicians covering every track from it with any number of instruments. The main DuckTales theme is of course fantastic, but Capcom's in-house sound guys did a completely stand-up job of soundtracking the rest of the game. So yeah, DuckTales is incredible. I'd recommend either the NES version or the Game Boy version. You can't go wrong with either. But if you're wanting to buy it without having to buy a retro console these days, it's also available on Capcom's Disney Afternoon Collection release on PS4, Xbox One and Steam, alongside its sequel DuckTales 2. I've never actually played DuckTales 2, but I probably should. I doubt it's as good as DuckTales. Is anything?